So I haven't really put up a video or anything for a few days. I've been really sick with a sinus infection, but I am feeling some better now, and you know, I'm taking medication for it and getting better. But I received the Black Major Toys Mortals and Invasors, and I got the entire set of 9 figures, and I'm just going to do all of these in one video and do a rundown of each figure and talk a little bit about the history of the figures and characters that they are that inspired these. So some of you already know that Black Major Toys has already done a full series of Mortals and Invasors in the Snake Eyes V1 mold, and these are the updated Snake Eyes V2 mold. The first one that I'm going to show you here is the blue Invasor with the Cobra emblem on his chest. He's molded in blue plastic with black paint apps, the red paint app on the face, on the visor, and silver here for his wrist dart or weapon or whatever. One thing that I noticed about this figure, and I haven't tried the others, I haven't even had the others out of the bags yet, but this guy does not want to go onto a figure stand. To the gap. You try and push him on there. I'm afraid I'll break the heel, but it'll pop off. Yeah, I can make this a little bit smaller or something. These pegs are slightly tapered, and that may be the issue. So I'll just, you know, if I put this figure on a stand, I'll just shave down the peg a little bit. Overall quality of the figure is fantastic. The joints are tight. The mold looks great. Knees are tight. There's nothing wonky about the figure. One thing I noticed is that there's a little bit of mold flash in that hand, as you can see right there around the thumb. If you deal much in plastic or polymer molding, mold flash is something that happens, and it's very easily taken care of. As a matter of fact, I'll show you right now with an X-Acto knife. Just go in and scrape just a little bit, and this stuff is real thin. It just flakes right off. And that's all there is to it. And the mold flash is gone. And just lightly scrape it. You know, I'm holding the blade at an angle like this and scraping in this direction. Yeah, I'm not actually like cutting into it. But anyway, cleaned up the mold flash on the hand, so there won't be any issues of putting the accessories in the hands. The accessories these figures come with, they come with a backpack, a sword, and an Uzi. This one's accessories are molded in like a metallic silver or gray plastic. I've seen some people asking questions about how to insert the sword into the little tabs on the backpack, and my assumption is that people are trying to put it in, let's see if I can get it turned around here, or trying to put the sword in like this. That's not how it goes. Short side of the hilt toward the backpack, slide straight in, the tabs hold it in place like this. I'm not sure if maybe they don't have an original 85 Snake Eyes to go off of or what, but anyway, this figure, the blue Invasor, great accessories. My favorite is the fact that each one of these guys came with a timber, a repainted timber. This one has red eyes and a black stripe down his back. I'm gonna get everything bagged up and move on to the next figure. Up next, the Crimson Invasor. Molded in red plastic, black paint apps, and like the other figure, joints are good and tight. Everything feels good. A very, very good quality with this figure. You know, knees are tight. Black Major Toys really knocked it out of the park with these Invasors and Immortals. These are excellent figures. The Snake Eyes V2 mold is a great classic too. This guy came with the same gray molded accessories, and he came with a brown timber with the black stripe and the red eyes. These timbers are really cool. That's one of my favorite parts about these figures is that each one of them came with a timber. I don't really know what would have inspired this figure. The color scheme on that one, I'll have to look more into it. But I know that it goes along with some other Black Major figures. The Red Shadows Night Viper and the Red Alley Viper were both molded in the same color plastic. We'll check them on a figure stand. And okay, this guy fits a figure stand. Well, his left foot does. His left foot fits on a figure stand fine. So just turn that around a little bit and it's good to go. But yeah, there we have him. All right, on to the next one. This is the Urban Camo Invasor. And there are Alley Vipers and Night Vipers. I think there's Night Vipers. I know there's an Alley Viper in this color scheme, and there's also a Ninja, a Firefly Ninja. And I'm not necessarily calling that figure Firefly. For my own personal use, I view it more as like a Firefly Saboteurs type of team. And this guy's a great addition to that, the Infiltrator. You know, all the joints are tight, the head swivels and moves as it should, elbows are tight, all the rivets look good. Quality on these figures is great. I mean, these are fantastic. And again, this is made off the 85 Snake Eyes mold. He came with green accessories, which is a nice nod to the green gun and phone that Firefly came with. And again, sword goes in the backpack same way. And we have a green Uzi. And these parts, I believe these are molded in green, I believe. There's some flashing here. I'm going to cut that off. Yeah, they're molded in green. It's not painted. I know some figures, some of the third-party figures come with painted accessories, and I don't know if any of the Black Major Toys figures have come with painted accessories, but I know that some of the others have. Some of the Vipers that we've looked at with the removable helmets, some of those guys have painted guns. But again, urban camo theme for the Firefly Saboteurs, Invasor, the Infiltrator. He did come with a timber, and his timber is gray with red eyes. There is no stripe down the back. For anybody who's been into Joe's for a while, or is looking for an 85 Snake Eyes, an original one, knows that, you know, he came with a timber, and this leg back here breaks off super easy. None of these are broken. I'm happy that none of them were broken in shipping, but yeah, great quality on these. I'm impressed. I'm really impressed with all of these figures. Many of you who grew up in the 80s grew up watching the G.I. Joe cartoon. And if you remember, or if you look back, you'll notice Snake Eyes was not black or gray. Snake Eyes in the cartoon was purple. So we have a cartoon-inspired purple Invasor. Check this guy out. I mean, if you remove the Cobra logo, if you remove that Cobra emblem, you would have the cartoon Snake Eyes, straight up. I really dig this figure. I think that it's an awesome nod to the past. And the details on this guy are great too, because even his the black paint apps, they have gray details. And we'll check him for fitment on a figure stand. He fits a figure stand fine. Excellent looking figure. So accessories that he came with: a black backpack with gray highlights, and a black sword, and I'm gonna drop things today apparently, and a black Uzi. I put a stress mark on the front of the Uzi. That sucks. I mean, I can get more of these. It's not like these, you know, Uzis for the third-party figures are rare or hard to find or anything. You can get them all day. But Purple Haze, that's what they're calling this figure. Purple Haze. All the joints are tight and everything. Again, left hand, there's a little bit of mold flash here. I'm just going to scrape that off with an X-Acto knife. And there we go. I got it. And then let me get him back in the bag and we will talk about his timber. The timber that he came with actually has the white underside with the gray main body, and is more reminiscent of the original, the timber from the cartoon. And he has the dark gray stripe down his back. Great looking figure. These guys will probably end up in some kind of a display on their own once the other waves, or the other wave, I'm not sure if it's going to be 2 more waves of these guys or 1 more, but in the next wave of figures there are some really cool looking designs, and there's even some good guy figures in that lot. So there's going to be a Night Force, there's going to be a Slaughter's Marauders, and there's going to be a Tiger Force Snake Eyes. So if you watch some of my other videos, you know that I love Python Patrol. Well, what Python Patrol team wouldn't be complete without a Cobra Invasor? Check this guy out. The black base with the Pythonized accessories, the Pythonized paint apps. This guy is fantastic. Get the little red highlight on the face. I think that the color scheme of this figure is fantastic. Yellow gloves. This is straight up a great looking Python Patrol figure. And he also came with a Pythonized wolf, a Pythonized timber with red eyes. He's molded in green plastic, it looks like. The same green plastic as the same green it appears, as the accessories for the Saboteurs figure. But check this out, man. This is really cool. The yellow stripes. And he came with red accessories. A red backpack, a red sword, and a red Uzi. Again, we'll show the fitment here real quick of the sword in the backpack. Just like that. Take one more look at this figure. As with the rest of them, joints are tight. Everything's of great quality. Completely posable, and he'll hold his poses and everything. We'll check him for fitment on a figure stand. Just because a figure doesn't fit on one figure stand doesn't mean that they won't fit on another figure stand. This one is actually a 1988 Hasbro stamped stand. So I'm going to take the right foot, push down onto the peg. It's a little tight. I'm not going to force it any farther than that because I don't want to pop his heel out. But he fits on a stand just fine. He'll fit for display purposes. And that's all that really matters. So I'll get him bagged up back here and bagged back up here, and then we'll move on to the final. Let's see what we got. We got 4 left in this series. All right. So I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with foreign G.I. Joe figures, but the Invasor was a South American figure, and there were a few different versions of the Invasor and the Mortal, but this is a V2. I'm going to call this a V2 Invasor because it's molded upon the Snake. It's based on the Snake Eyes V2 mold, and the original Black Invasor was based on the Snake Eyes V1.5 mold. It was a swivel arm figure, and as a matter of fact, I just bought an original South American Invasor figure, and it's a black Snake Eyes. It's a V1.5 Snake Eyes with a silver logo on it, a silver cover logo on his chest. So this guy's molded in all black plastic with the silver logo on his chest, this little silver paint app here for his wrist, and everything else is just straight up black. This is the Invasor V2. And those figures were released in South America. The Invasors and Mortals were released in they were Brazil, I think that Argentina had some, Venezuela had some figures like this as well. But it's the South American Ruby Plas, Estrella, those South American companies were releasing these figures. But he comes with a black wolf with a silver stripe down his back. The silver accents on these guys are awesome, and you know, this is a great looking figure, and it's also a great nod to the past. I don't have all of the exact information sitting right in front of me right now for the South American Invasors and Mortals, but you know, we can talk about that in a later video whenever I do something on these vintage figures, because I'm also looking for a couple of other. I'm starting to get into some of the South American stuff a little bit, and I'm bidding on a couple of auctions and just looking for figures that are for sale and whatnot to add to my collection. But I do have one of these guys, one of the original versions of these guys coming, and we'll do a full video breakdown on that figure as well. He comes with a black backpack with a gray paint app, a gray highlight, a black sword, and a black Uzi. And we'll check him for fitment on a figure stand. And he fits just fine on a figure stand. Here we go. Right, moving on. Now, another nod to the past. We have the Cobra Mortal V2, molded on the V2 Snake Eyes. This is a direct directly inspired from the Cobra Mortal, which was another South American figure. And if you can find an original Cobra Mortal, they have chrome accents. The figure has a chrome head, a chrome leg, and I believe a chrome arm. Don't hold me 100% to that. I don't have one, but I am looking to get one. I want one of the originals, and this, I'm telling you, like, foreign figures are a rabbit hole, man. They really are. They you get into the foreign figures, and some of this stuff is just so rare that it's damn near non-existent. But paint apps on this guy. He's molded in gray plastic. The red is all paint application. The leg, the arm. You've got the red accent on the face with the silver. And I like the fact that one of the things that I love is, like, in some plastics, you'll show a little bit of marbling from where the liquid pumps into the mold. And this guy, the gray plastic, shows some of that marbling. And it's a fantastic look, I think. There's a little bit of mold flash on the thumb, again, on this figure, but it's, you know, I've already demonstrated how to remove that, and that it's a complete non-issue. All this guy's joints are tight. The black is also a paint app. This is molded in gray plastic and painted black. But everything's tight with these figures. No issues with the heads at all. But again, Cobra Mortal, inspired by an original figure. He came with red accessories, the red backpack, red Uzi, and a red sword, the same accessories as the Python Patrol Invasor. And he has a gray timber with light gray or white splash down the back with a red stripe and red eyes. I don't know if I should call these timbers or not. I mean, they're not all the same character. So, I mean, Timber was a character. So, we'll just call these wolves. Something interesting that someone mentioned in a comment on Facebook, and that I had never thought of, but all of these guys coming with the wolf figures instead of invasors, maybe they are liposomes. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly or not, but it's a South American werewolf type of a legendary creature, a mythological creature, a cryptid, or a urban legend, or a monster. You know, that these guys are werewolves. And, you know, and like, one of the things about these third-party figures is that people take these and they make their own stories with them sometimes, and you know, they create their own personal universe or whatever. And you know, this guy was talking about how, you know, maybe they're werewolves, and this is their human form, and this is their wolf form. I like the idea of that. I think it's pretty cool. I've always been into monsters and ghosts and things like that. So we got 2 more figures to go. I'm saving best for last, so we'll move on in a second. One of the absolute rarest figures in the hobby right now is the white Cobra Mortal. And this was a South American release. I believe that it was released in Venezuela by a company called Rubyplast. But this is the V2 White Mortal. Yeah, this is the original version of this figure is molded on the V1.5, V1 or V1.5 of the Snake Eyes mold, and is absolutely it is a grail of grails. I've never actually seen one for sale. I have seen where a couple of people have bought the original figures and they paid in the thousands. I've never seen anyone actually say exactly what price they paid, just in the thousands. Please don't take that as me saying what they're worth or what they go for, because I don't know. I've never seen one sold. I'm sure that some of you guys probably have. A little bit of mold flash on the thumb that I'm going to take care of here real quick. Yeah, I'm sure that some people out there have seen those figures sell, or you know, you may have actually owned one. Somebody watching one of these videos may have actually owned one of those original figures, or maybe they do own one of those original figures. I don't know what they sell for, so I'm not placing a value on anything. I'm just, you know, just passing along some stories. But the white Cobra Mortal, a very cool figure. I know that Black Major Toys had released a bootleg version of the original Snake Eyes 1.5 white Cobra Mortal. Those figures, if you can find one, they do fetch a price. I'm looking for one currently. Not hard, but I'll find one. I'll probably end up buying one when it pops up. But all the joints and everything on this figure are tight, great quality. It's molded in a matte white plastic. All of the black is paint application, and it has the red Cobra logo on the chest. No other paint app on the face except for the visor. All around fantastic looking figure. We're going to check in for fitment on a figure stand, and again, this is not every figure stand, this is just a stand. And he fits just fine on a figure stand. You know, the ones that I checked that didn't fit on a figure stand, there may have been a little bit of mold flash inside the peg hole for the foot. He came with silver molded accessories, a silver backpack, sword, and a silver Uzi. The reason I said that I'm saving the best figures for last is just because of the history behind these guys and what they're inspired by. Came with a white wolf with a silver stripe down his back and the red eyes. The more I think about it, the more I really dig the idea of these guys just being werewolves, and you know, you're getting two figures. You're getting their wolf form and you're getting their human form whenever you buy these. I mean, I try to, when I collect stuff like this, you know, I don't really think too much into that unless I'm looking for a custom packaging or a bio or something like that, or a file card. But you know, that's definitely a cool story, and I wish that somebody would do something with that. You know, I know that the possibility is out there for like independent comic books and things like that. And like, I'm not artistically talented. I can't draw for shit. I can, you know, I'm decently creative with like stories. I mean, I write songs and stuff. So, you know, maybe if somebody wanted to do that, somebody that was more artistically inclined, you know, it's just bringing the monster aspect into it, the horror aspect. I really like that idea. All right, we have one more figure left, and this one's very special. This figure, as far as I know, is already sold out. I was lucky enough to be one of the first 100 sets of these figures that were sold. This is the Ghost Mortal. It is molded in white plastic with black paint apps and is like the white Mortal, except he has the silver visor and the silver Cobra emblem on his chest. This is the Ghost Mortal. Now, and one of the really cool things about this figure, let me take care of this mold flash on his thumb here real quick. And that just slides right off. I think my dog's trying to come in here and I've got the door shut. Alright, Ghost Mortal. Yeah, there he is. He's poking his nose in. Nosy little guy. The accessories this figure came with: glow-in-the-dark translucent green. I love translucent accessories. I'd love to get a translucent figure. I have a couple of translucent figures. One translucent figure is the Wraith action figure from the 25th anniversary line. Let me get this door real quick. Alright. Glow-in-the-dark translucent green backpack. Glow-in-the-dark translucent green sword. And a glow-in-the-dark translucent green Uzi. Now the Ghost Mortal also came with a translucent green glow-in-the-dark wolf. Is that not the coolest thing ever? Check this out. Super, super cool figure. What is this? There is a stress mark on his foot. I'm gonna see if I can get it. I'm gonna see if I can get a hold of another accessory set for this guy, just because I'm afraid that that foot might break off. See the little stress mark there? I'm just afraid that that foot might break off. It's not cracked or anything, but there is a stress line. So that's a concern. For me, at least, it's a concern. I'll just make sure that I can try to grab another one. So here I am messing with it. I'm probably going to end up breaking it. It's what's going to happen. But, all right. For this next section of this video, I'm going to try to get complete darkness in the room. I'm going to charge these up over a lamp and get some complete darkness in the room, and then I'll film in complete darkness and show you guys the glow-in-the-dark aspect of these figures. So the Ghost Mortal, you know, this isn't really so much of an original figure inspiration or anything, but you know, it's the white Cobra Mortal with the, you know, the glow-in-the-dark accessories. I mean, just Ghost Mortal just kind of makes sense for that. So, all right, while I'm charging these up, I'm going to give you guys a rest so you can quit staring at my face and get back to the good stuff. I'm trying to keep the length of this video compacted and down just a little bit, because I know that some people don't want to sit through 45 minutes to an hour of me rambling about toys. But, you know, this was such a good set, and I hated to break all of it up into individual videos. And this set deserved to have its own glory. Okay, I didn't charge these for very long, but long enough that you can see. I mean, this room is pitch black, and you can see the glow of the wolf here. The other accessories, I should have held these over the lamp a lot longer, because I mean they've been in the dark, but I can't really see that one. Yeah, the other accessories are not glowing near enough to show up on the video. The wolf barely is. I know you can see his legs and his belly. I just held him over a bulb. So yeah, these accessories are going to have to be out in the light for a while in order to charge up enough to really glow. But I'll tell you, for the 30 seconds or so that I held the wolf over the bulb, I know that it really didn't look that way in the video, at least from my perspective, but you know, he lit up pretty bright, and they're glowing a light green color. So the figure, I don't think there's anything about the figure that glows in the dark, but the wolf definitely glows in the dark. So do the accessories. They just need a good UV charge. This figure, there's like one little tiny section here where his arm's a little loose, but other than that, I mean, he's perfectly great and fine. Knees are tight. All the joints are good. Let's check him for fitment on a figure stand. This is a Hasbro stand, and he fits just fine. Most excellent for display. Yeah, molded in the same white plastic as the Cobra Mortal. Silver visor, silver emblem, and the glow-in-the-dark wolf. Alright guys, I hope that you enjoyed this little breakdown of the new Black Major Toys Snake Eyes, Invasors, Mortals figures. I know that I'm enjoying the hell out of these figures. I think they're fantastic. Especially the wolves. I do want to get. I do want to look at getting a new glow in the dark wolf. I think these accessory sets were selling for somewhere in the neighborhood of like $9 or $10. So if Black Major Toys has any left, I'll definitely be ordering one of those. I've got another great video with a 5-figure set coming up here very soon. Don't think I'm going to have time to get that filmed and uploaded today, but be sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more third-party bootleg and vintage G.I. Joe goodness. Later, guys. Yo, Joe.